Welcome to The Adult Table, a podcast where we sit down with people in the SACE and our STEM community. We set the virtual table to bring in a diverse set of guests to engage in a casual conversation on their professional career and life.
With this podcast, we hope that we can bridge the gap between the hierarchy involved with growing up. We can redefine what it means to be able to figuratively sit at the adult table.
I'm one of your co-hosts, Jason Chin.
And I'm your other co-host, Jenny Chung.
So today, instead of bringing on a different guest, we are bringing an episode with everyone on the adult table team. Woo! So yeah, we've been really excited about this episode for a while, and we're kind of just looking to reminisce a little bit on how we met, learn a little more about each other, and play some games together, kind of. So in all of our planning meetings, I kind of love the random tangents that we go off into in our conversations. So guessing we'll see how it goes on in an episode. So today, joining Jenny and I, we have our marketing chair, Amberly, and our newest member of the team, Jenny Huang. So Amberly already joined us during our holiday episode. You can check that out. Can both of you introduce yourselves to the audience?
Hello, everyone. I'm Amberly. I guess one thing that's changed this year for me is I'm RC now for the West region. Previously, I was RMR. And yeah, I guess other than that, this is my annual adult table podcast featuring, I guess.
Annual?
Yep.
It's only going to be once? Okay.
We'll see.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Jenny. I am a current senior at Clarkson University, and this year I'm an RC for the Northeast region. Originally from Portland, Oregon. I go to school in upstate New York, and fun fact, I eat my snacks with chopsticks. So
honestly, that's really smart because you don't want to get like finger dusted.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good stuff. Yeah. So welcome, Jenny, to the team. And why, I guess like we could just kind of go off and like, why did you want to be part of the podcast team? Because I know like you volunteer in SACE a lot, and I know you've been involved with like chapters and stuff like that. But was there anything that stood out to you about, being on a podcast team?
I just feel like being on a podcast team is something different, and it sounds more fun. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I know every like team lead or leader or whatever is going to say this, but I honestly feel like we have one of the best SACE volunteer teams, not going to lie. Of all the initiatives and stuff, honestly, laid back, kind of fun. Get to produce a podcast, which is very new, very different.
It's very different. Yeah. I've never done it before. And then I was just like, you know what? It's fun. It's a lot more work than you would think, I guess, that I've learned. But it's a good time because we're not like too bound by, things that we could talk about as long as we find guests or we can, talk about whatever. I always like, talking a lot. So.
Yeah. It's nice to set your own goals and have your own things planned out, have your own creative freedom to do things.
And yeah, I agree with Jenny. I think there's like no pressure from anyone on the team. I don't think there's any hard deadlines that we feel like we need to meet. I think we all feel good about kind of the goals that we set originally, but if anything happens, people get busy, it's not like a big thing to kind of move around a bunch of plans, move around a bunch of things to get some of this stuff done. It's really on our own choice, I guess. I don't know, Jenny, you alluded to producing the podcast being harder than you expected, but what was one of those things that you thought or unexpectedly was a challenge for you doing this podcast?
I guess like since this podcast is more like, it's not professional, but it's more like formal in a way with some of the guests we bring on. So it's like different in that way. And I think a lot of the podcasts I've been seeing popping up like from quarantine and like on TikTok too, I've seen people just like, they just talk about random things. And it seems like there's no really script. It's not that we really script things too much. Like we just kind of have some notes. I feel like they just like sit down one day, grab a couple drinks and just like talk about random stuff, which is kind of like what I would like. Yeah. And that's what we're kind of doing now, every now and then. But some of our other episodes where we try to interview people and get their perspectives, those need a bit more preparation and more research as to like who they are and their career paths and stuff like that. So we can ask more targeted questions. So I guess that's kind of the more like logistical stuff as well. And also like working up to how we interview people. I think also that it's different when you hit record, right? Yeah.
After a year, you would think that it would get easier. And I think it has gotten a little bit easier, but the nerves still hit once you press record, once you start producing it. I don't know if it's like an internal pressure or if it's just more serious once record hits. I know we could edit this stuff too, but I still get pretty nervous about that.
I think it's just like stage fright, honestly. Like we're our own harshest critics, so we're just like, why do we say things like that when we're editing? Or I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's definitely something we noticed. We know all the filler words that we all use now, which is good and bad, I will say.
Have you been more conscious about it, and have you tried to improve from now? Like a year ago, do you think you've improved?
I think
a little bit.
Oh, okay, nice.
Nice.
I think about it when I have our team meetings or my check-in with my boss. I'm just like trying to be more cognizant of it. I think that's when I have more preparation going into a meeting. But if it's like kind of a impromptu meeting, I don't think I'm really thinking about it too much. Or if someone comes to my desk or something, I'm definitely not thinking about those things.
I feel that. I think I'm the same.
Jenny H, do you feel like before jumping on this, have you ever done, or how comfortable were you with public speaking or being like confident in meetings and stuff like that?
I hold like e-board positions, but I don't think I was ever too comfortable in like a public speaking setting.
Yeah. And now you're here.
And now we're here.
All right, I guess we could jump into kind of like some of the, on YouTube when people do like first or best friend tags. We got some prompts here to kind of go through it, see how well. I guess just to be nostalgic for a bit and see how we met and if we remember other things like first impressions and whatnot, because we're pretty, I guess, diverse in that, or I guess two of us are on the West Coast now, and the two of you guys are on the East Coast. But I used to be in the East Coast, so there's kind of like it's a split now. Before it was we are in the majority, the West Coast, for meetings and stuff like that. But yeah, we can go and kind of recount how we met each other and when, if we can kind of pinpoint a time, because I feel like we've all met each other at different points, right? It's not the same year, also in different locations as well. So for each person, so whoever wants to go first, feel free to do so.
I'm really curious to know or see if there are differences in what people remember in their first impressions or like what their first meetup is.
How should we do this?
I guess okay, I can go. I guess the easiest one is when I met Jason. We went to Northeastern University together, but I did not meet him. I think technically I met him at a SACE meeting, but I didn't really talk to him until I randomly went to play volleyball, beach volleyball at behind one of our campus dorms, like back in the back, whatever. They had like a beach volleyball setup, and I was playing with some other friends, and I think I just bumped into Jason. He was playing with his friends, and then we just played together, and I was really terrible, like so bad. And then that's like my first, I think that was more my first impression of him, just like athletic guy. And you had like I don't think you were in the Asian American community as much, like as involved as of yet, as I was. So I didn't really know like who your friends were. And I don't know if you necessarily knew like who my friends were at that time. But that's when I first really met Jason in my mind. Was that true, Jason? What do you think?
Dan, you got me thinking more now. That's definitely one of the first memories I have with you. I think I recognized you from a meeting, and then we were standing next to each other in volleyball, because I guess for volleyball there, it's kind of like open court. Everyone just kind of joins in, get to meet some people, pretty inclusive. And then I was like, I think you're part of SACE, right? And then I don't know if I said your name, or I don't know if I remember your name or not. That's one of the first memories I have of you.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to look through my photos to see like what the first photo I had with you too.
Uh-huh.
And it was just like all these like SACE e-board meetings, because I'll be honest, I don't remember too much until I joined SACE e-board, which was my sophomore year.
So that was 2015.
Spring.
No, 2016
or 2018.
2017, I think.
Oh, 2017. Okay, because I think I met you like 2016-ish, like late 2016. Yeah.
Okay, I am curious to know what do you think, because I think in the first few weeks of being on the e-board, I think I basically talked to everyone aside from you. I don't know why, but I don't remember. I don't remember hanging out with you or like talking to you much, and I thought you didn't like me.
Wait, what was your position?
I was programs chair.
Oh,
for half the year.
Was that when I was what was I? Was I president or co?
You were corporate.
Oh, I don't really remember much, to be honest, because like I remember my second and third year, I just like burned out so hard. A lot of it's like blacked out from my memory, to be honest.
Oh my god.
But I think I was just so busy and like so wired from doing work. I don't think I thought much of it. And I was like, oh, I didn't even notice that you didn't talk to me, but I don't think I didn't not like you. Like I didn't really have an opinion, I guess is my point.
She didn't like you. She just...
I don't like dislike anyone really, unless they like really do something bad, which is rare for me, I think. Yeah. I could go down the list. So I could go since I was talking. Okay, so when did I meet Amberly? Officially in Pittsburgh, 2019 National Conference. It was it at a club? It was either a club or we were getting pizza. We just sat together after one of the nights out. We just got pizza with you and Chris from San Diego as well, and Stefan. And Dan was there too. And I have a picture of it. It seemed like I had known you for longer when we had met. You were really easy to get along with. And I was like, wow, like, yeah, could be the alcohol too, but like, you know, like really friendly. I think you're just really friendly person. Yeah.
Oh
that's
my
first impression.
I'm so embarrassed. I like don't remember much from that encounter.
Oh, nice.
No, it's because I was really tired.
That's fair.
The night.
Yeah.
So, but like I think it was just because I had heard of you a lot through other people. Like you're pretty well known in the SACE community. And I was like, oh, like she wouldn't pay attention to me. She has like a lot of SACE friends already. Like there's no like
there's a common thread here.
Okay. I see. All right.
Yeah, I think I related to what Jason said a little. But then I think the most memorable was like just a few months after that when you became Steph's roommate. And then we hung out at Disney. And that weekend was just like 3 days of hanging out together.
Yes.
Yes. Like, hey, you are now in SoCal. This is it's pretty nice to hang out and everything. So I'm sorry, I don't remember much. No,
it's fine. I am not offended. It's okay. And I guess to continue on, and then the other Jenny, I haven't met you in person, I think, or unless I did and forgot. I'm sorry, but I don't think I have. So I met you officially like when you came to one of our meetings for the Adult Table podcast planning meetings, and I think I had heard of you too as an RC, but I didn't know. I don't think I've ever like communicated with you before, but you seem like really chill, nice person, smart too. But also like I think that's pretty cool that you moved from you said from Oregon to East Coast. So that must be definitely a different in culture for you in general, because you did the opposite of what I did. So yeah, that's my first impressions of everyone. Next.
I go, or I guess we already covered Jenny, but I think when I first met Amberly, I think I had similar feelings to Jenny where you were really easy to get along with. The first time I met you, I went to one of the UC San Diego's GMs, and I feel like you, Ying, and Raph were like really friendly, and like it made me want to like continue going because I was kind of nervous about like just going. I'm not really, or I don't go to your school, so it was kind of weird. But you guys were really cool, and then we went to West Regional Conference, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah, but I think it was just really easy to talk to you. I think one of the funniest things I remember also is that basically every time I saw you, we mentioned something about basketball, and we finally played basketball once on UC San Diego's campus, and we were just like kind of playing for fun. At some point, we were like playing like patty cake under like the hoop to like distract from like something else, or like my like defense was to play patty cake or whatever.
Oh my God.
Do you remember that?
I don't. I just remember losing so badly to you and Aaron. Like nothing worked. So I that's all I remember. Oh wow, good times. I mean, to speak of my first impression of you, I think it started from when you messaged us when you were interning here. I was like, I was not used to it. Or I was talking to my board about it too, because you were just someone from Northeastern, and I kept confusing it with like North, like another school.
No.
I remember. No. It was just out of respect. Like this is coming from a place of respect, because I was like, oh, he's like just this really random person from another SACE chapter. He's messaging us to like hang out with us. It's like he must be really extroverted and like friendly to reach out to do this. Like, because then it's so intimidating to do that even, and I wouldn't have thought of that. I was just like, whoa, who's this guy? And then got to hang out with you, and then through West Regional Conference, it was just so cool that you like came out to events, and it wasn't just like you met us once and then you didn't like want to hang out anymore. You like came out repeatedly, and then West Regional Conference coming with us all the way to NorCal, and then talking about basketball. And yeah, so that was really fun. Yeah. I was just sad that you were in downtown, and I was like, oh man, this is like hard to meet up often. But other than that, it was a good spring. Was it spring? Yeah, spring.
Yeah.
Quarter.
Yeah. I definitely thought UC San Diego was like downtown when I first moved. I thought it'd be a lot easier to get over to you guys.
Yeah, misleading. Actually in La Jolla, which is near the beach.
I think it was like a 30-minute Uber every time I'd go. But yeah, no, that's funny that you mentioned that, because on my end, like you were saying, like, oh, you must be extroverted and friendly, and I was like, oof, I have like no friends out there. I need to like do something.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then moving on to Jenny. So the first time I met Jenny was during our interview to get the RC position. And that was like my first interview for like SACE, I guess. I guess I've done like e-board positions before, but at least like for the Northeast team. And it didn't really feel like that much of an interview. Like it was like a nice conversation, getting to know you. I remember it just felt like you did like a lot. Like it was like impressive, like how much you did in college. And then I remember at the end, I was like very shocked that you had like all these questions for me. I think at the end, like you just had a lot of questions, and I was like, I think that's a good sign. Like that shows that you're interested and you are genuinely want to have an understanding of what you're going to be doing, and also how it came across. I think you asked a couple questions. I'm like, oh, what could I have done better in an interview and stuff? I think I was kind of impressed by that. You asking questions, and I was also just not prepared. I was like, I don't know. Like, I guess we do this stuff. Like, yeah, the tables really turned over there.
I see. Yeah, I haven't met anyone on this team like in person. So like my first impression of like Jason was like, oh, like this guy. I thought there would be like more people interviewing me, but there was only Jason,
Just
right?
Jason.
And I was like, yeah, and I was like nervous. And Jason, at first, he came off like sort of like intimidating.
Really?
I don't know if it was the situation that we were in, it was an interview, or just like the vibe you give off at the beginning were like super intimidating. And so I was like, oof, like I better do good, right? And so like I know John from before, and at one point you were like, oh yeah, like John is becoming an RM. And I was like, oh, and you were like, oh, like I'm gonna cut that out. And I was like, oh. I think that's when it eased up a bit.
Damn. Wait. No. I feel like that's like what I least want to do is like to be intimidating, because like it's such a, I don't know, for SACE for me, it's like just such a super casual. I know there's like the professional development stuff, but like my focus is definitely more on like the networking, but not like networking to get a job, but networking to meet a bunch of people and just like, yeah, meet people from across the country. now that I'm thinking of it too, I don't remember who said it first or like how it brought up, but the interview definitely eased up a little bit when we started talking about conference, because I feel like we talked about like drinking stories during the interview at some point. I don't know who started it, but I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. Like you're down to just hang out at conferences and stuff.
I think I might have brought it up first.
I feel like that's just an unspoken safe thing. Like people know, like we got a party after the actual conference.
Stress. Yeah, I will say for Jenny also, because we didn't meet prior to this, but yeah, when you asked questions when we initially met for the adult table meeting, I was also like, oh, this is like really nice of you to ask questions, shows interest and everything. So very nice to have you.
Yeah, I do want to do more work to help out with you guys, so I know I've been just kind of lurking.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, like, we'll kind of just get you adjusted and stuff like that, I'm sure. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff planned for, the next episodes that we have coming up. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we could do with some episodes in the future. And you got some great ideas too for, ideas and how to make the interviews better and questions that we ask. So it's always good to just have more people help out with that.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's kind of on us too. Like we've been doing this for a year and it's like, okay, now how do we kind of divide up and even out kind of like the workload, and also what do we want to do that's different and how can we like fit all of us into like, or I guess like in terms of like our responsibilities. So I think it's definitely like a two-way street in trying to figure that stuff out.
Yeah, we could tell some stories if you guys got any specific stories about any particular team members or things you may have heard, rumors that you want to address.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Or any current things that you currently have going on that you want to share. It's all open.
I can go first. So something that I've recently doing is that I came back home for my citizenship ceremony, and there was an acrylic class the next day that was offered. So I've been debating on either continue getting a master in engineering or my MBA, or just going to cosmetology school. And so I've been thinking, because like I go to school in upstate New York and isn't much around, a side hustle of either doing nails or sugaring. I don't know if you guys know what sugaring is, but it's like, so it's like waxing but with sugar. Sugar paste is a more organic form of wax. So I've debating between either doing nails or sugaring, because I get my nails done and I get sugar. And so I do want to provide those service for those around me because they don't offer it here. And so there was a nail class offered the next day after my ceremony, and I was debating on whether should I do it now or should I do it at the end of this year, because it was rather a little expensive. But yeah, I did it, and here it is. I'm doing acrylics, and I'm working on launching my business.
Oh, that's so
That
cool.
is so cool.
Whoa. Wait, so what type of engineering do you study, or would you get a master's in if you decide to do that versus like cosmetology school?
I'm studying engineering management right now, and I have a focus in supply chain and project management. So if I do get my master, it will probably either be an MBA or like system engineering or project management focus.
Oh, that's so cool. I feel like those two are like very different areas, right? Where one is like very more technical-ish. And then the other one is, I guess, like that's like technical in its own way, right? Where you have to know how to use certain things if you go into like sugaring, or what the other one was it nails, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's a certain skill set too. That sounds really cool. They're very different things. So how did you get interested in like engineering first of all, and then like the other side? Like how did you get interested in cosmetology and like beauty and stuff like that?
Right. I grew up in I would say, sort of tradition household. I wouldn't say my family was very reserved, but growing up in Vietnam and moving here, I feel like my mindset has been like, oh, being successful is having a stable job, having a good job, going to college, things like that. But I feel like being in America more and with my network and with this generation as well, right? I feel like that mindset has shifted. And also, I feel like with COVID too, working remote, working on your own time, my mindset has shifted from, oh, I'm tired of doing a 9 to 5 job. So like, do I want my own business or do I want to work under someone else? Yes, I do really love doing project management and system engineering, but how long can I do that before I burn out or before I don't see this career path going any further? So that's when I decide to, oh, do I want to pursue these services that I get done and that I do really like? Do I want to pursue that because I do love them as a hobby and pursue that as a business and as a career choice? So I'm doing it as sort of like a side hustle now, but it depends on how this business goes. It might become a thing, a career path.
That's
Really
awesome.
cool.
And I think, I don't know, I could definitely relate to a lot of kind of what you mentioned, being burned out from a 9 to 5, seeing or trying to see myself or envision myself doing this in the future. It's like, am I going to really want to do this for that long? Be stuck in that schedule, be stuck in working for someone else, working for a company. Yeah, but that's really cool that you're doing it pretty early on, I would say, I guess before graduation, getting kind of that head start. I don't know, what really interesting to me or what I'm curious about is like, you said you're kind of in the process. So I was wondering like what has gone into that process so far and like what are some of the things that would be upcoming to kind of see it fully through?
So I decided to go with the nail extension course instead of the sugaring course because the sugaring course didn't really work out. Right now, I am a certified nail tech, but I'm not yet licensed. So if I do want to later on open a storefront, I would need to get my license. So as of right now, I've been just practicing, just doing my nails, doing my friends' nails, and make sure that I feel like schooling for this type of like job is very important because they don't teach like sanitization. One of the things that I never knew before taking classes was that sanitization is a very important thing that we as customer don't pay attention to. And so what my mentor had taught me that, oh, like you could be like transferring like AIDS or like bloodborne pathogens to like these nail sets. And like that is a life-changing disease. So I've been taking sanitization and stuff very seriously. And so I'm working on getting my Instagram up. And other than that, I've been just practicing and yeah.
So I had a question. Like, have you like told like your parents about this? Like, what do they think if they're like, oh, like you're going to engineering, right? And then they're like, oh, maybe she'll do something else. Like, do they know that you're planning on pursuing this, or what are their thoughts?
They know that I took a nail class and like I want to take this sort of seriously, but I haven't told them on whether or not I want to pursue this as a long-term career choice.
How do you think they would react if you did, or when you?
Honestly, I think they would be fine because they are pretty supportive of where I'm going.
Oh, cool. I mean, especially with, I feel like with parents, like it's just when you have a plan, more concrete plan, like you're already taking classes and then you've already been practicing, that's way more tangible and they can kind of see what you're doing versus just like telling them that you're doing something and not really have anything. So they're more assured because usually it's more that they're afraid that you'll, I think Jenny's mentioned before, it's like you're more like that you'll go through, like you'll suffer like what your choice with your choice. So it's really cool that you've already been taking classes and yeah, making that decision like the next day, just starting classes like that. That's so cool.
It was pretty impulsive, but I don't think I regret it.
Yeah.
I feel like those are like the best decisions, like the ones that are kind of impulsive. I think the podcast, I was kind of impulsive on that too. Like, not saying that's like the same, but I feel like happy that to be able to do like these impulsive decisions. Like I think I just like texted Jenny. I was like, all right, whatever happens. If she feels down to do it, then that's cool. If not, then we kind of tried. Maybe I'll try some other people. And then we just kind of hit the road running. Do you guys have any like memorable, very impulsive decisions? Or I guess this is kind of related to one big question I wanted to ask you guys. Like, is there any big, I've heard it this way in a podcast before, but like sliding doors moment. And by that, I mean, was there any one moment that you think your life could have kind of diverted in two like completely different directions? Obviously, you took one choice and that's why you're here now. But like, can you think back to something like that?
I think for me, I think of it as a impulsive decision, but maybe in the whole process, I kind of knew with me switching my major, like in college, I think it was my third year. And it's like usually you have things figured out supposedly and things like that. But I think for me, I knew I wanted to switch out of my other major into speculative design, which is like a much lesser known subject. I think I started taking classes for it and then like talked to counselors about it. And I was like, okay, you know what? I should just like commit to it. And I don't regret it. I think I enjoyed my classes a lot and what I learned. And so I guess that was like a pretty big turning point for me. I did have to take another year in school, but a lot of people, surprisingly, like everyone around me was like, oh yeah, it's fine that you're taking another year. There's no rush to get out because it's like a lot of people told me that. I was kind of surprised because it's like a lot of times it's like the typical system is you graduate in 4 years. Yeah, I was fortunate to be able to take the 5th year too. So I think just a lot of the things that kind of lined up for me to switch into that major worked out. Especially since before I came to UCSD too, I looked into that major. But I didn't do it because I didn't know much about it. So I ended up with it like my other major. And then lo and behold, like in the middle of my time at UCSD, I switched to the major I was interested before I even knew what it was. So that's one sliding door moment for me.
I can't really think of one right now. Jason, you got anything? Since you asked the question.
I can't think of anything big. I think something that I think about a lot is like my college choice.
That's what I was thinking too.
Really big
difference.
Like my second choice was to go to the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, where Pia went actually. And
right.
I think that's just like a completely different vibe from Northeastern. Not only like location, like Boston to Illinois, but in terms of like the types of school, Illinois is like a really big school. It's kind of like, at least the vibe that I got from going to their campus was that it's kind of like those towns that are centered around that school there. Like the big thing is that school, there's like all these huge quads, like sports are super big, the campus is super large, like you have to take a bus to get around all of campus. Northeastern, you could walk it in like 15 minutes. Northeastern, you're in the city. Northeastern was a lot closer to home. I knew people going to Northeastern. I knew that my sister was going to Northeastern. So I guess I don't know too much about how it would be different in terms of outcome, but I just know that it would be a very different path for me if I had just chose that other one. I will say, like, I was like very nervous in making that decision. Like, I think for choosing your school when you're a senior in high school, it's like end of April or something like that. I think I literally was at the last day I committed to Northeastern.
Oh, and you're literally like 17 years old.
Yeah, I think we've touched upon that a little bit on the podcast, but it's like crazy to think that I'm going to choose this in a major and all these other things, like, and I'm 17 and I'm barely like figuring out anything. Barely figuring out anything now, but I don't know. But I think that's like the one thing that kind of pops up in my mind.
Yeah, I agree with that, with the college thing. I think I've mentioned it before too. It's like I could have I think I was only looking at East Coast schools, but it was either like University of Connecticut, which is where I'm from, or any other place really. And I think I chose Northeastern over Boston University just because my sister went to Boston University and I wanted to be different in a way. Plus, like some people I knew from high school, like 2 years above me, went to Northeastern and they came in to give a talk about like the school and stuff. And I was like, oh, that seems nice. I'll just go there. And then the co-op program, right? And then I didn't really know much else besides that. Because my parents were really trying to get me into go to Ivy League colleges, but I couldn't get into any of those. So that's what happened. Yeah. So I guess it was either like I go to school with people, like all my high school friends that I knew, or like go somewhere else. And I didn't want it to be like high school. I didn't really like high school that much. So I was like, I don't want college to be like high school where I would just like be in the same crowd and like not do anything. So I went somewhere else where I didn't know really anyone. I think I knew like one person from high school that went to Northeastern. But yeah, I think it would totally been different in the communities that I would have been in too, because I feel like University of Connecticut's not really that diverse, or there's not really a large Asian American population there, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I would have turned out the same in my involvement and stuff too. Yeah.
Like when you think more and more into those decisions, like, I don't know, everything seems super different. Like if I went to a different school, would I have joined SACE? Then like all of the images of like what that turns into, or like
right.
I got into like rock climbing here, and that was just because like there was a gym close by. It's like, oh, would I have done that? And that's like such a big part of what I do. Or like being able to do a co-op, going to a co-op in like a different city, like all these different things that I attribute as like big parts of my life would have. I feel like it's hard to envision them in like a different setting. True. Which is kind of like just a weird concept to think about.
Yeah. What about you, Jenny? Like I know. So how did you make the decision to go from like Oregon, Portland to like East Coast? Like what was that like? And were there other choices you were looking at, I guess, besides going to East Coast?
So I applied to I think 13 colleges, and I think I got accepted into all of them, and most of them were in Oregon.
Okay.
Except for just Clarkson, right? I didn't think to apply to anything in Cali or any IVs because I didn't think I was qualified, or even I was the first generation to go to college, so I didn't know what it was like looking at majors, looking at things like that. And so all I known was just colleges in Oregon, people I know go there. And then just randomly, I was going to a national college fair in Portland that they had. And Clarkson was there, and no one was talking to those. I just walked up to the booth, and the lady was very nice. I was like, oh, okay, I'll like consider applying. And they were just like a button away on the Common app, I think. And so I was like, oh, might as well click. And that was it. And next thing you know, like they got back to me with like a very good financial aid. So that was honestly the only reason why I chose Clarkson, because I didn't visit the campus. I didn't know what it was like. I just know that it was a small school that is predominantly white. I didn't even know that we're hockey here. I didn't know what Clarkson was like at all. And I think I took a leap of faith to go to Clarkson at that moment just because of the financial aid. And I thought, okay, like if it doesn't work out, I can always transfer back. But then I'm glad I ended up here because of all the opportunities that I'm able to get. Because knowing that my friends who went to high school with me, they are going to college in Oregon, and the kind of opportunities that we get are very different. And I don't think I would be where I am now.
Did you feel any moments after getting on the campus that you were like seriously considering transferring, or like you showed up and you're like, oh, this is not what I was expecting, even though like I know you said you didn't have too many expectations, or not expectations, but like didn't know that much?
Right. So I got here not knowing anything about Clarkson, and I was just like, oh, like we'll see how it goes, sort of thing. And just being like across the country from home, homesick hits me really hard around like Thanksgiving time for semester. And I think that's when like I decided, oh, like I want to go home, I miss home, like, and things like that. But then it was actually the friends that I made in stay that got me to stay here. And I'm glad that I did, because now I do like being away from home. And I treasure the time that I'm home more. And I feel like it's a very good, like being independent is a very good adulting experience.
True. I agree. Yeah, I think just like having independence and just learning on your own, like what you need to do and how to take care of yourself is like one of the main things that even now too, I'm like more far than I was in college, just like running errands and stuff. And then now sometimes when I hang out with people, all we talk about is like adult stuff, like jobs and like bills and insurance. I'm like, wow, I didn't really think I would get this far, or like I didn't think that I would be like this, but what else is there? Sometimes like, oh. You know, it's just the way of life. It's just like you talk about what's
Yeah.
going on in your life, right? Not that I don't do fun, like we don't do fun things, but it's like more of the pressing stuff that's like on our minds is usually things that we have to take care of or things that we have to do. Yeah, that's just the reality of it.
I feel like I remember not necessarily like mocking the idea, but being like, oh, I never want to be that adult who's going to be like,
Right. It
talking
seems
about
boring,
finance
right? Yeah.
or like, I don't know, kitchen stuff. And now it's
Yeah.
just like, I don't know,
But those-
that's like such a common conversation part.
Yeah.
Like when I meet up with people.
Those things excite me now too. Like I love getting new appliances, like kitchen appliances or like new things like that I get to use and like cook with or whatever. Or that's just fun now.
Yeah. Agreed.
Let's jump into some fun firsts. I like the first social media. If you want to recount like your first social media post or like if you remember what it is, or we could do some digging too right now live. Cause I was thinking about this too, because I don't remember what my first Facebook status was, but I remember what my first ever tweet was. And I don't remember when I got Twitter. It was sometime in like high school, because I was using Twitter quite often because no one really used Facebook in my school. I remember my first tweet being like, I don't know what it was verbatim, but it was something along the lines of, oh, this is my first tweet. I know what a hashtag is now. Hashtag. Because I thought I was being like quirky and like funny.
So meta.
I don't remember what my first Facebook post was, but I remember just like for sure just posting stupid stuff on there, kind of like just updating random statuses. I'm like, no one's reading that. I was like, who was I posting that for? But it's funny every time I see Facebook memories, I'm like, what? Why did I do this?
Yeah, I don't remember much of my first social media post, but I remember Instagram was a huge thing for me when it came out. It was really fun. Like a picture with a caption. What? I first made it public and I like try to add all the hashtags. Took a picture of the scenery while I was at the beach, and then I just added so many like random things like hashtag running, hashtag.
I was trying to find it.
Like,
I can't even find. I don't know it. I just scrolled to your profile. It's not there.
oh really? Did I hide it?
The first one that comes up, the caption says 100,000 bruises later. Cry face emoji. I think you're roller skating.
I think I did archive it. Yeah, the more beginning ones, and then my face because I think it was cringy for me to think about. And then for Facebook, I just used to use so many emojis. I think emojis didn't exist or something. It was just like the colon, bracket face, and then like I use so many of them. So many. I also get reminded from Facebook, and it's funny to see those have just converted to regular emojis now. I still use a lot of emojis, I feel like.
I don't think I remember what my first status post is, but I kind of have the same feeling of like seeing those statuses like pop up sparingly on my like Facebook memories, and it's like really cringy, and it's really like you're saying, like, who am I talking to? I remember one time, I think I wrote like "Happy Birthday, Mom" on my like Facebook status. One of my friends was like, "Why don't you tell that to your mom?" I was like, "Why am I writing this on a status? I'm not friends with my mom on Facebook." Like, just like stupid stuff.
So sassy.
Yeah, that was the thing too. People just being like sassy to each other in the comment threads. It's just like people being sarcastic and sassy to each other all the time, which is just really funny to see. Also, seeing how I type as like a ninth grader, it's kind of like how I used to type on my non-smartphone. I still had like a keyboard. It was like the alias that like folds both ways.
Yeah.
There was a character count, so you'd have to be like short on it. So like writing and with ND or like writing all those things like shorthand, and it looks so bad now looking back on memories. Yeah, good times. Good times being back on Facebook.
Yeah, I miss those like challenges. It's like, like the status for a first impression.
Oh yeah. Oh, you could bring it back. Amberly, bring it back.
Oh my God.
Do it right now. I like it right now.
Yo, truth is, was that a thing for you guys too?
Truth is.
Or like rate your friends. I'm like, what? Why do we do that?
I know. There was no point, and it always took so much time to do them. But it was, I don't know, it was such a social thing to do.
Yeah.
You know.
I think we're dating ourselves a little bit.
No, it's fine. I remember in college, like every time it was like finals week or like midterm week, and like people are in the library, and at like 3 or 4 a.m. when like people just like are taking a break, or like they would just go through people's old social medias and then bump up really, really old posts and comment on them or like them. And then we're like, why would you do this? Why aren't you like doing work? And it was just like a thing that people did to each other. And I just remember it. And sometimes I'll see old posts and the comments would be like 1 year ago or like 2 years ago. I'm like, that's so recent based on when this was posted, right? And it's so funny. So we were so stupid.
Those are so fun to do. Just bring it bring it back out.
Damn, I'm like low-key scrolling through Jenny's photos right now to try to find a really cringy one.
I'm not cringe, please.
What do you say?
I said I'm not cringe.
You sure? I'll find something before the end of the episode.
All right.
Nice.
I don't think I remember what my first status for Facebook is. I have a Twitter, but I've never tweeted.
So she hasn't had her first tweet yet.
Wow. Gotta make it memorable. You're gonna talk about it in like 10 years.
True. Just do a hashtag.
It's all the cool kids are doing right now, you know?
Yeah. Oh, one thing. Oh, this is a pretty good one. First big purchase, I would say, like as like new adults, right? And I spent a good amount of money more recently in the past 2 years now that I have a job. Technically, I don't think paying off loans really counts, or like I paid off the car too. Doesn't really count. I think like my first big purchase after that was Coachella tickets. That's like $600, right? And then I recently bought a tailored like made suit too. Ooh. And like it was like good material for the suit, jacket, and pants. I also bought a button-up shirt that was custom measured to me as well. That cost me around $600-ish, more than $600. Oh, and then that other expensive meal that I had. So they're all in like the 600 range, right? $600, $500. And I've never spent that much money on any one thing ever in my life up until like recently. So I'm curious to see. And I feel like it's really like, that's more of like an adult thing, right? I'm buying nicer things for myself and like eating better food every now and then. So I'm curious as to what your big purchases have been.
My first big purchase was probably a leather jacket from All Saints.
Oh,
it was like $500.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do you still wear it? Or like do you not wear it as often? Because I feel like if I own something, I was like, I'll be scared to wear it.
I wear it occasionally.
Okay. Yeah, she wants to flex. Yeah.
It's probably pretty durable too.
Yeah.
So you can wear it without being scared it'll rip or something.
Mm-hmm. That sounds really nice.
I feel like clothes, I'm always scared of like staining it with food. I'm just like sloppy or something. That's like my main
Feel that.
Oh, are you guys a messy eater?
I am.
Yes. I guess I'm just clumsy. Like I was drinking soup, like you know soup stuff, and then it just falls out of your chopsticks or spoon, and then it just splashes all over you. It's like I didn't want that to happen. But then I stained my clothes. I still have to get out the stain.
That's why I don't own anything really white colored, because it's hard to get out. So if you see my closet or like outfits that I wear, mostly dark colored things, because you won't notice it if something gets on it. And I'm trying to get more colors in my wardrobe now, but before it was just like I'm just clumsy too. Like something would just fall or like splash.
Dude, I'll just like have things in my hands and then just like drop it out of nowhere. Like I don't know what happened. Like I can't like remember what that moment was. Like I was just at Sam's place and I was like ready to put a dish into her dishwasher, and I'm literally just walking. Nothing happened. And it just like fell out of my hand and broke on the floor. I was like, like, what am I doing?
I do that too, where I would be walking and I'll see an obstacle in front of me. I'll tell my brain like, oh, there's something in front of me, but my body doesn't move, and I walk straight into it full force. And then I have a bruise. That's how I get so many bruises on my legs. I just walk into things. I don't know. Off topic from biggest purchase. But yeah.
That's great though.
Yeah. I don't know. On many occasions, I won't go into detail, but it's like always like, oh yeah, this is why I don't deserve nice things. Because I'll like drop something like a watch and then it'll break a little. And it's like I should be more careful, or just not buy things that will hurt if I damage it.
Right. Oh yeah, I bought a new phone. I guess that too. Usually my parents will buy my phones for me. And then the most recent one that I bought is I bought it myself, because I destroyed my phone by accident and I needed a new phone because it's old. It's So that was over
Yo,
$1,000 too.
Jenny's just balling. That's what-
No, I'm not trying to flex
She
in
brought
any
this up to
way.
flex on
No,
us.
I didn't. I was curious because like I've been spending a lot of money recently, and I want to not feel alone.
Okay, to answer your question, I think you did bring up a good point about a suit. I've been trying to get Derek to take me to go suit shopping because he was also
Ooh.
interested in getting a suit.
Yeah.
I've never had a full suit. I've always bought like a jacket and just like bought slacks somewhere else and then like the shirts from someone else, and they're not like fitted to me.
Mhm.
So I'll be like big purchase that I haven't hit yet. But I think my biggest purchase was after I moved into my new apartment last year. I just bought a full-size bed and like a full-size bed frame.
Yes.
And like before that, I just had like my brother's old twin-size bed that was like turning to be really crappy. So I bought like a mattress from my friend that he was throwing out, and that was also really crappy. So it's like, oh, this is nice. Like I finally have like a nice bed, and
Right.
it's spacious, a bed frame, and like I bought it myself. I think that's like the big purchase that I had. But it's funny because it's like it's literally a necessity. Like I need it.
Right.
It's still
Those
took me
things.
a while to do.
Yeah. Those things you should splurge on. Like anything that you are spending like more than 8 hours on, like sleeping, or even like a chair, right? Oh, they say anything that separates you from the ground, you should spend more money on. So like chairs, beds, shoes, like those that support you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I could be totally wrong with the saying. Don't quote me on that.
So like buying first class on an airplane because it
It
separates
separates you from the ground.
Oh
I
my
would
God.
love to fly first class sometime.
Mm.
Yeah.
Me
Off
too.
topic. But yeah.
I heard it's worth it for international flights.
longer flights. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
longer flights.
Yeah. Wait, what about you, Emily? What was your big purchase?
I would say also kind of concert festival. I'm going to head in the clouds in November. And I think each ticket wasn't necessarily like a big amount, but it was like being able to buy for other people too. And then not so like everyone doesn't have to buy their own ticket, like buying in a group. I think that was like, oh yeah, I can do this. And buy tickets for my friends and stuff and make the process a little easier for everyone.
Mhm.
That one was cool. I do want to buy a Switch eventually
Ooh, same.
and get
Should.
into that.
Good. Unless you win it on the Sace Connect giveaway.
Oh my goodness.
Right? I have no luck with giveaways.
Same. But yeah, I would love to get a Switch too. So I could just play with
Yeah.
Mario Kart. Or like it's really nice for when you have people over too. Play like Mario
Mhm.
Kart or like Mario Party, Super Smash.
I think I'm just adding a lot of meaning into it, but then I just remember as a kid, I have like a sister, so then we would kind of fight over who gets the time on the Nintendo
Oh.
DS. So we would only be able to buy one. My parents would buy the like 2 different games for the Pokemon, like the versions. So yeah, it would be pretty meaningful to be able to buy, because I stopped after high school, I think, buying the new like Nintendo. What is it called? The which ones are the ones with the screen? Like the ones that after DS.
There's one after DS.
Yeah.
I thought it was just called DS something.
Oh,
There's
I
like
thought-
Yeah.
Like
more
the
versions of
3D?
the DS.
What is it called? The DS
They had like multiple versions.
well, after the DS, it was like the Wii. No. The Wii U.
Oh yeah.
Those ones.
That sounds right to me.
Anyway, yeah, actually, yeah. So I stopped after that, and then so now it will be pretty meaningful when I get my own Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Buy it myself.
Also something that I just like impulsively bought, and definitely am glad that I did that. Like the Switch. Like I bought it before I went to San Diego. Honestly, it was kind of like, oh, well, one, I was like, oh, I could play if my roommates like to play. I didn't end up really hanging out with the roommates that I had. But then 2, I was like, oh, if I'm having a hard time hanging out with people, I'll just play Switch in my apartment.
Yes, it is
Definitely.
the perfect social and antisocial
That is true.
gaming
Yeah.
console.
It was kind of perfect during quarantine. Like me and a couple of friends would play Mario Kart, maybe 1 or 2 other games on our Switch every Friday. And like at that point, like I literally was not seeing anyone at all. And that was like the perfect kind of like social thing, but don't have to test how my computer can handle the game, you know?
Oh. Have everyone seen Squid Game?
Oh, yes. I just finished it today and I started it yesterday.
Nice. I think I'm halfway, but I think at this point I've heard so many spoilers.
Yeah.
This is the problem because I like to wait for things like cliffhangers and stuff. I like to binge watch stuff, but then as a result, I'm very behind because everyone's watched Squid Game and it's like everyone's just gonna talk about it, so it's
Yeah.
unavoidable.
That's literally why I watched it and as fast as I did, because I already saw all the memes and all the people, characters, and who the bad ones were. That was kind of spoiled for me. So I was like, originally I was waiting for the hype to die down, like with other shows usually, but it did not die. The hype did not die. And I was like, okay, everyone's talking the show up so much that it's so good that transcends the Korean language bounds. The translations aren't correct necessarily to English, but like there's a lot of social commentary, and I was like, okay, I gotta watch it and see if it actually lives up to the hype, right? And it's only 8 episodes, so I was like, okay, sure, I can do it. But yeah, it's a good show. I would say it lived up to the hype. I was just sad that it got spoiled.
At one point, my literal like whole TikTok for you page was just content.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bad because like I watched it, so at least it wasn't like the spoilers. But once you watch one of them, it's just going to keep populating. So it was literally no breaks between like going between next TikTok to next TikTok. It was all solid show. I think I recommended this other show on another podcast, but similar show, Alice in Borderlands, is top tier and would recommend if y'all are looking for another show that is in somewhat of the same realm, same vibe.
Thoughts on the comparison, but I guess there's nothing to really like. You don't really need to compare it. But what were you gonna say, Jenny, about bringing up Squid Game?
Oh, I just wanted y'all's thoughts on it.
Oh, like favorite character or game or
which game do you guys think you would definitely not survive in, and which one you feel most confident in?
I would definitely die in the glass bridge one.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I would die in tug of war.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
Oh,
that seems hard.
That one's a painful death.
Dude, I want to try that strategy though. Like, I want to know how effective it is. Not that I'd find 20 people to play tug of war like that.
Okay, honestly, the first one for me, because it's like I'm scared to move. So, and then because of the time limit, it's like I wouldn't make it to the end.
Yeah, I think the time limit was fine. I think people were just panicking because of what happened, that they stopped, and then
hard to know. Yeah, you're right. Or if anyone sabotages, you, then that's true. That's also really sad.
Yeah.
Maybe the candy one. I think I would do okay. It's more the strategies. Yeah, can do that. Nimble fingers.
I thought you were like oddly alluding to like the licking part of it. Like,
no. The strategy. She has the strategy. But I was thinking about this too, because they're like all like games that the people in Korea played when they were kids, right? So what would be the equivalent of American games that we would play? Because I feel like we play like Foursquare. I feel like tag, like freeze tag or something. Dodgeball.
Dodgeball. I think I did see a tweet about this too.
Hopscotch. Red light, green light is a common one.
We played this game called like Running Bases. I don't know if any of you guys played that.
Is that just like on a field and are you running, like literally running on bases, or what is that?
It's just like there's like 2 points and there's like two defenders, I guess. You need to safely travel between like those 2 points back and forth, and they're like throwing a ball back and forth. So if you get tagged by the ball, then you're out. But you need to like leave your safe zone to get to the other side. I definitely explained that really poorly.
Oh, that game. Yeah, I think I got it. It's like the Squid Game, kind of. Or like Monkey in the Middle, kind of. Like mix of Monkey in the Middle, dodgeball.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Are there any individual games that in like America? I feel like I didn't play any growing up.
Like pick up sticks. Or like what's the other one where they had like little coins? Did they just flip them? Was that a thing? You know, the one where the guy that slapped That game.
Yeah.
There's an equivalent, right? Because people used to collect these little coins. I don't remember what they're called. Poggers? No, not poggers. Poggers is a Twitch term. It's like starts with a P. You know what I'm saying? Like, never mind. Maybe it is poggers. No, maybe it's not. Pog. Oh, it's called pogs. See, it's
close.
Pogs. Pogger. It's called pogs, or like milk caps. It says that you have like these milk caps, and then you have to stack them, and then you take turns to drop a heavier slammer object into it to disrupt them. The goal is to do that so that none of them are face down or something. So it's like similar to the flipping thing. I've never played it. I just heard about it. That's a tangent. Sorry.
They seem similar.
Yeah.
They feel familiar to me, and I don't know why.
Yeah. It's great games, good show. There's a lot of good shows on Netflix now. I've been watching Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha. Well, I haven't seen it yet. It's on my list. And then, I don't know. It's really it that I've been watching, I feel like. I haven't really had much time.
I got into Demon Slayer. Then
oh, nice.
That one is pretty good.
Yeah. Do you think it lives up to the hype that it was getting?
I think so. I did skip through a few scenes for like certain characters that I felt were a little like repetitive in their actions. So I did go through the show a little quicker. But otherwise, I think it's really epic. It's really cool. The characters are cool and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess to wrap it up, if we want to do the question about something you did recently that made you feel like an adult, because we asked all our guests and we're all guests on this.
I'll also expand it to like maybe a revelation that felt like or something that like you were thinking of.
Adult life is lonely.
Oh, that is true in some aspects.
No, I think I definitely felt the way that you felt. And my revelation was going to be like, I realized how much I depend on people, actually. Like, I felt lonely, and I think I realized I put myself in that position maybe because I wanted to be more independent. And I felt like maybe people around me weren't going through the same things that I did. So that I was like, oh, I have to go through this myself because everyone else does it. And then I realized like, oh, maybe after opening up to people around me, like, oh, they were feeling the same things that I did. And that was more consolation, for me to just like not be afraid to maybe open up more, or like accepting like, oh yeah, there are times where I will need to ask people for their opinion, their advice, and or even just to like process some emotion. Like, I don't know how I think about it yet, but then I like talking about it through someone and then thinking about that conversation afterwards, like really helps me get through that event. So I think it is lonely. But then I think it's like you're being lonely together with someone, because in the end they're not able to help you exactly what you're going through, but at least you can try to find someone that like might get you through it together. That's what I realized.
Okay, I could go next, Jenny. One of the revelations or things that I've been thinking about a lot is my, I guess, addiction to like being on my phone or playing music all the time, or even like listening to podcasts. Or I realized that I am really focused on trying to, I guess, like be efficient with my time. It's like, oh, if I'm walking to the store, why don't I listen to a podcast and learn about something, or multitask, or even doing that with work. But I think one of the things that I realized is that in doing that, I'm not focusing on anything like fully. And so like, I'm not really doing any of these things fully, and I'm getting like distracted. And what I've been trying to do recently is to just like not have the tendency to go to my phone and play Spotify right away. Just like put my phone away, don't look at it, just focus on the thing I'm doing. And I'll feel like a lot better about my productivity, or just like notice things, or like be able to be more in my thoughts as I'm like taking a walk or something. So that's something that I need to get like more used to. But it was cool to like, I think, understand or recognize that like it has not been that much better. It might just like make time pass by quicker, but isn't necessarily better.
I'm still thinking. Well, I think one of the main things that I've realized recently too is that I've been pretty busy for the past few weeks, or weekends and weekdays, where like I fill up my time with plans, social or just like, online, like with a call with people, or just watching content like on the side and stuff like that. So I'm always like occupying my brain with something, because I don't want to be alone with my thoughts sometimes.
Mm.
And I think that that's like, like a defense, like coping mechanism where I just like, I'm so focused on just trying to be busy and like do things because that makes me feel more productive in a way than just like slowing down and listening to myself. Not that my thoughts are like bad. I mean, sometimes, they could be bad where I overthink and stuff like that. But I think I don't give myself time to reflect as much because I just want to keep going. It's like the mindset where you're like, go, 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 right? It's like, I got to be doing something or I got to post something or I got to, show something. I'm doing something because being slow or slowing down means in my head that I'm not doing anything, even though that's not the case, right? So I'm trying to learn how to not do that, but I also booked out my whole calendar for the next few months by accident with just like with just like events and then like traveling and like I'm going home for the holidays soon too. So it's just a lot of stuff that happens during this time of year, I feel like in general.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully in the new year, I will give myself more time because it's very exhausting. I've also been pretty drained, my social battery, like I'm introverted and I haven't been giving myself enough time to recharge as well. So, but I feel like it's kind of like the same mindset I had in college too, where I'm like, I have to do things, Is it mindless sometimes? Who knows?
I definitely find a lot of similarities in what you're talking about. And I think you're right. Having the time to reflect and think about what you've been doing during the week is super important.
Mm-hmm.
I think, especially in this year, while it like felt slow, a lot of times it just like has passed by really quickly and I don't even recognize like what I've been doing or like sit down and appreciate like, oh, like I have been able to actually like do all these things, see all these people, try new things. And you're right, like when you're pushing through all the time, you don't like reflect at all on any of those things or appreciate the times that you have had.
Mm-hmm.
We're all still figuring it out. And
Yes.
it's cool about how like this, hopefully this question can be relevant in like even just a month or a week from now, we can have new revelations or about our routines and what we're doing.
Well, thanks for listening to our team episode of the Adult Table podcast. We'll be back to our regular schedule with other, content and other interviews with people. We have some great guests that we have lined up in the upcoming months. So be on the lookout for that. And we hope that you enjoyed this casual conversation with just the team. We're hoping that we can do more of this sort of thing, just, to catch up what's going on with us and how we are as a team, but also how we are as people. I feel like usually when we're hosting the podcast, interviewing people, don't necessarily get to see what happens behind the scenes as much. So we want to try to give you guys insight to how we're doing as well. If you like that stuff, give us some feedback. Yeah, we want to hear it. Yeah, we're excited to bring you new content for the new season.
Yeah. And like always, don't forget to subscribe so you know when episodes come out. So you can follow us on our Instagram at the Adult Table Podcast for updates. And I'm Jason Chin.
And I'm Jenny Chung. And we'll see you next time at the Adult Table. Thanks for listening.